Okay, it's the day after Cinco de Maga, May 6th, 2026, with Arthur Schaper. Five, four, three. Howdy, I'm Charlie Simons, your host here on Do Not Talk. Talk about two things you're never supposed to talk about: politics and religion. Talk about things you're not supposed to bring up. Talking to people I'm not supposed to put on. That's kind of my thing. Welcome. If you can like this show right now, that would be helpful with all the algorithms and stuff, especially at Rumble, rumble.com/do not talk. We're also live on YouTube, several pages on YouTube. Patriot Mike Cook, and I got two YouTube pages, although I have two strikes against me, so I might not be there much longer. Also on LinkedIn live right now, twitch.tv/Charlie Simons. Or do not talk. I don't know if it's that important to you. Try one or the other. It's just kind of shameful. I can't even remember since I'm the one that put it together. And that's Spike. And somebody has rung the doorbell. Okay, Spike, simmer down. I'll check that out. In the meantime, Arthur Schaper standing by. Let's get him into the mix. We're talking about the California gubernatorial election debate on CNN last night that nobody could even see it unless you bought a subscription. Spike. Easy. And also, the spirit has flown. Oh, no, wait, scratch that. It's been grounded. Stand by. Let's do it. Hit it.
So I'm all
the moment somebody knocks on it, I've always had big dogs. Spike is one of only two little dogs I've ever had. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny to get used to the moment somebody knocks on a door, rings the doorbell, my dog becomes a Rottweiler. My little old 12-pound Chihuahua Min Pin mix becomes a Rottweiler. Hello, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I'm not afraid to talk about politics and religion. I want to make sure I give the shout out to everybody. Please make sure to get a mug. I was happy to support. Thank you always for having me on, Charlie. I'm definitely
Isn't that a nice big mug? I got fairly big hands, and all my four fingers fit in there.
There you go.
I love it.
It's huge. And I am one of those people that some would say you shouldn't have on. I was on a Colorado radio station with a lady. She was very big on getting rid of the drag queens and fighting to protect the kids. And people would just barrage her Facebook page. Don't have this guy on, but she didn't care. I was on her show 3 times, in fact, but I'm glad that you're the number one. Thanks for having me again. And yes, we've got to talk about the spirit that has fled, or the spirit that has departed. This was unavoidable for me. And I will always speak on a subject that might even put me at odds a little bit with President Trump. You know, there was he was thinking about floating a $500 million buyout or a lifeline to Spirit Airlines. But, you know, Spirit Airlines has got to be one of the worst, if not the worst airline company that exists, if not the United States, in the world. I mean, I've never used it. I understand that they market.
I have.
Oh, you know what? I need you to start. You tell us what it was like on Spirit, please, because then it will just
flown Spirit.
Everything else.
I'll tell you what. I love low-cost carriers. People used to make fun of when they first came on the scene. Southwest Airlines. They used to make fun of it because it was cheap fare and it was like a cattle call and there was no assigned seating. You got the seat you got when you got there. If you wanted to get a little earlier, you might be able to get one you like. Other than that, though, you take what you can get. Everybody made fun of it. I flew it. I had no problem with it. I'm a po folk from way back. I'm used to taking what you can get and using your money for more beneficial things like single malt scotch and ribeye steaks. I'd rather pay my money for something like that than worrying about how I'm flying. I really don't care. As long as it gets me from here to there, that's all I care about. So I had no problems with Spirit Airlines, and it was back in 2024. I flew out for my first time ever in Detroit, Michigan, for Charlie Kirk's People's Convention. The People's Convention was amazing. There were thousands of all of us there. We came from all over the country, and they transformed this community, whatever downtown convention center thing, into just a wonderland. It was amazing, the Charlie Kirk people and the staff and the volunteers, and I miss Charlie Kirk. That was a huge loss. But I'm so grateful that I flew there, even though I didn't really have the money. I put it on credit card, and I start checking around for airfares and Delta and all of them, and it's like 400, 500 round trip, 700. And then I came across Spirit Airlines.
Okay.
And they didn't fly out. They always flew out of the smaller airports and flew into the smaller airports.
Okay.
Fine, no problem. My experience with them online, trying to purchase the ticket, which was seriously about a third of what everyone else was asking. It was that significantly cheaper than everyone else. And I thought, I don't care. Again, as long as it gets me from here to there, my focus is going to be on what happens when I get there. And if I can save some money getting there, fantastic. The website was a little hard to negotiate. And at one point I had to call, I found a toll-free number on there, called, and they helped me out. And it was just fine. I had no problems with it, actually. The day of the flight, there was a layover in Las Vegas and then to Detroit. Well, the Las Vegas layover, it was supposed to be about 45 minutes, turned into a 12-hour ordeal.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm already flying later in the day, and I'm trying to figure out how to get to my hotel and all this kind of stuff. Once I get there, I was meeting a friend there. We were going to share the cost of the room. Mike Cook, Patriot Mike Cook, as a matter of fact, who I've had on the show many times. I need to get you on with him. I don't think I've ever had you two on together. That'd be good. That 45-minute layover, Arthur, turned into a 12-hour ordeal. I'd experienced problems and layovers and missing the connecting flight because the flight bringing you in was running late. I've experienced all that. Done a lot of traveling. 12 hours. People are sleeping on the floor.
Jeez.
All of us. 12 hours stuck in Las Vegas. You're thinking, woohoo, it's Vegas. Go have fun. Well, no, we couldn't leave the airport because, for one thing, we had no idea when our flight was actually going to make it. And then I'm having a conversation with somebody at the gate who worked for Spirit, and she actually said, our pilot didn't show up.
Oh, my gosh.
Who was bringing the plane from Los Angeles. Didn't show up, overslept, something like that. So they had to scramble and get another pilot, and it wound up being like a 12-hour layover. I'd never experienced anything like that. And I thought,
that is just like gross incompetence. And you know what? That makes me, I might as well start with now one of the videos that I had in my article that I shared for Town Hall. Let me see if I can bring that up for you.
Yeah, do that. I want to see this because Arthur just did a story.
Okay.
Arthur just did a story in Town Hall, townhall.com, about what's happened with Spirit Airlines.
Here, maybe I'm jumping ahead a little bit. I really, everybody, Charlie has graciously allowed me to share because I had so many things I wanted to share in the article. So I get to take the lead today. I appreciate everybody letting me do
for
that.
it.
So let me do this. I'm going to go to the article first and, jumping the gun just a little bit, but it's all
I
good.
see what you're saying. Okay,
Yeah,
I got you.
I'm going to do that. Here we go. Yeah, this was it. Free enterprise could have resurrected Spirit Airlines. I mean, there it is. You just couldn't avoid it. Spirit, you're thinking freedom in life, and the exact opposite happened. I just couldn't resist the play on words, starting with the very first sentence. Spirit Airlines gave up the ghost this week, and boy, did it. And for me, I shared a little later in the article, not a moment too soon. The terrible service which you just featured was just endemic for this horrible company. How any airline could last as long as Spirit Airlines did,
because they were cheap. And there's always people like us who will pick the bargain mart. I have no problems going to Dollar General.
And me too. And
I bought a pair of sunglasses at Dollar Tree.
Yep.
That I've had for about 3.5 years now. They're just fine. $1.50 I paid for.
It's perfect. And, you know, I use Southwest Airlines a lot. I don't need to have a specific space. I didn't mind trying to compete and get the best space I could. I always went to the back of the airplane so I could get the window seat. I didn't mind waiting a little extra to have that window seat. That was fine with me. But let me tell you what you would run into on Spirit Airlines. This is a viral exchange that happened. It's about an hour and a minute, a minute and a half, excuse me. Here we go. Let me get the speaker on.
You're not the one or the two. Let's go. You ain't got shit. You ain't gonna do nothing. Like I said, keep my fucking name out your mouth, bitch. No.
Dang.
Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here.
Oh. I mean, what is this, Jerry Springer?
No, Jerry Springer would be bleeped out.
Oh, that's right. There'd be bleeps.
Fuck out of here, you dirty bitch. Yes, you are.
Oh, whoa.
Fuck out of here. You ain't your raggedy ass fucking bitch. Fuck out of here.
And then there's a third person trying to.
Like I said what I said. And I said what I said. Please step to me like you want.
Fast forward a little bit. I don't want you to get shut down. Let me see. There's another.
Oh, this is funny. I'd never seen this.
Okay, this was in 2000. This was November of 2024. So you're thinking like November season.
I'm not the one of the two, bitch. You tried me 2 times. I want you to do it a third.
Oh.
I want you to do it a third.
Oh man, I'm trying to find the part. I think we maybe skipped past it, but it's like she like literally bumped into her. There it is. Okay. Okay, and it's like you're seeing
like I said,
this
keep
kind
my
of
fucking name
garbage.
out your mouth.
Yeah, take it to the beginning. What started all of it?
Okay, so whatever. It's like somebody got an STD from somebody, and then they got it from somebody else. There's like a lot of like, you know, serious like intimacy problems, to put it mildly. They were fighting over a guy. This is November 2024. Everybody's got a phone. And here's something that I really stressed. Where was the response from Spirit Airlines leadership? Where was the press release? Because this went super viral. The New York Post talked about this. This went all over.
I'm sure they thoroughly apologized for it, and they fired those 2 employees.
Sure they did, with a big quotation mark around it. No record of this. We have no knowledge that anything happened. And that's not the only thing. This is shocking. You would see this kind of, you know, let me show you something else that happened. This is something else that I had also included in the article. Give me 6 seconds here. I'm going to find it.
And if you go to townhall.com and then search Arthur Schaper and look for it, his most recent article is the one about Spirit Airlines. And you read the story, you'll see words highlighted. That's where you can find these. You can watch these for yourself.
I saw this. There was a Facebook group I was able to find. Here's one of the comments. As usual, Spirit Airlines, that was a comment after the video was uploaded. Now let me show you 2. These were news reports. One of them that came out of Chicago. All right. Thanks for bearing with me. Everybody, thanks for bearing with me. It's like I have to like click and leave. That's the way it is. Give me 2 seconds.
No worries. We're having fun.
Yes. Oh, brother. Okay.
We're live.
Here's a fight that broke out at the Spirit Airlines gate.
Oh, beautiful. Those are the customers.
This happened last week at a Spirit Airlines departure gate. In the video, the waiting area looked more like a mosh pit with more than a half dozen people kicking and punching.
I can't believe people would get that defensive over flying out of somewhere. That's just craziness.
It's not good. You got to be careful. If kids around, anything can happen.
No word on if any of the passengers involved are facing charges. Spirit is looking into it.
Well, at the very same airport, tense moments for passengers. This is a Delta flight where haze
and then there was haze, so we don't have to worry about Delta. That's somebody was caught smoking. That was taken care of, and that's the point. It was taken care of for Delta, but what you saw there with Spirit, that's not a one-off. Let me show you another one. Not a one-off. I want people to understand this was a pattern of abuse and disruption and and craziness and outrageous conduct. Here we go. Is another one.
Good afternoon. We start with pandemonium inside a Fort Lauderdale airport.
Spirit Airlines canceling nearly a dozen flights, fueling anger and a major brawl. Eyewitness News reporter John Garcia live at O'Hare right now with more on who the airline is blaming for this new round of airport chaos. John.
Yeah, Judy, it's pretty calm at the airport. As you can see right now, this is the Spirit.
Whoops. Sorry, I was trying to hit I'm hitting the pause button briefly. I want to make sure everybody heard that. dozens of flights were canceled. So what you went through, Charlie, was was norm, not the exception. Flight after flight getting canceled. This is unreal. I mean, you have to document this because people can't believe that such incompetence would be pervasive in any airline company. Let me continue with this.
That's when passengers were crowded into lines here. Spirit is hoping, however, that the federal judge's ruling just a short time ago this afternoon will keep things more like this way.
Today at 5 o'clock, lobbying for Chicago. We are live in spring.
So there you go. We saw there was pattern after pattern of this shutdowns. And what we, when you saw that brawl that was breaking out in Atlanta, what was going on there? What you had was everybody people were hitting their limit. Why? Because the flight had been canceled. People are trying to figure out what they want to do. Tensions flare up and people start punching each other. Now, it's not an excuse, but you had tensions. It was like a tinderbox over and over again at the Spirit Airlines gateways. This is absolute incompetence. I provided a statistic on my article that I just got from, you have some websites that look at, airline conditions and what kind of service they provide. In January 2026, you had 11% of the flights were canceled on New Year's Day. Can you imagine how frustrated people must have been?
No, I
Friday,
can't.
January 2nd, 14% of the flights were. The next day, 14 were canceled.
You're
Saturday,
absolutely right.
January 3rd.
How did they stay in business as long as they did? Because there were
How
always
did they
people
stay
like
in
me.
business as long as they did? That is the real question we should be asking.
I'm telling you, it's because of people like me. We appreciated the lower price. We couldn't afford. I could not have gone to Detroit and experienced what I did with Charlie Kirk
There you go.
if it weren't for Spirit Airlines. I mean, financially, I'm like that tight. So I could not have done that. So even though it was appalling and ridiculous and it screwed up the first day and so on and so forth, still worth it. I couldn't have been able to experience that otherwise. A lot of these people may be the same way, but they're unruly. They're stupid. I experienced some of that on the flight that I was on, both to Detroit and on my way back.
Wow. See, and that's something else too. It's like employees are not doing their job. There was no culture of accountability. This is just like the Biden administration that we had for the last 4 years, where there was routine incompetence, waste, and corruption, and it just infected Spirit Airlines. And you saw just examples of that, and I gave you some statistics. But what really brought me why I wanted to write about this issue amongst all the things that are happening across the country and even around the world is that President Trump wanted to send a $500 million lifeline to try to save this airline. I'm like, no,
would have been a
they
loan.
don't deserve a dime. They should have been shut down.
It was a loan. It would have been a loan. They were
even if it's a loan. Wait a minute. They could go to a private firm. That should be their job. It shouldn't be the government's job to be providing a loan. I'm a real stickler about this. I'm a free enterprise guy, and that is a concern that everybody.
I am too.
Ben Shapiro,
and that's why I was so glad that we had a low-cost airfare airline out there, an option for us, because after this whole thing happened with Spirit Airlines, the CEO of Delta literally said, "We're raising our prices, and we're not going to lower them when fuel costs go down. We're going to use that as an opportunity to, pad the ballot box for our profits." He literally, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said. They don't care. They know that people still have to fly.
And here's and that brings me to the other side of the problem, which is the Elizabeth Warrens and the Pete Buttigieg's of the world. We could go back
now,
to Biden.
There we go. Let's talk about what happened. What put Spirit Airlines in the position that they were in right now, that they had to make such a dramatic move?
I'm a real it always has to start with Spirit Airlines. They were a crappy company, crappy employees, crappy leadership, crappy everything. Now,
but they had routes, they had contracts with airports, they had planes, they had the equipment. So wouldn't it make sense to merger with another?
Yes, it would have. And that's what I'd love to get to. And I know that's where you're leading to. So we can go back to 2023 during the Biden administration. JetBlue was really willing to buy up Spirit, buy it out, buy it up, take your pick, and take over. Now, JetBlue has had some issues as well. They were in the news a lot, but here's the thing. They got their act together. It's all about how the private industry, how the private how private companies, do they respond to consumer pressure? Do they respond to public outrage or not? JetBlue did. I mean, there was like a Bill of Rights that they drew up. They began to change the bad conditions on the planes of the staff. They were ready to buy Spirit Airlines. And then you had Elizabeth Warren step in and saying, no, we don't want monopolies. We don't want them rigging the market and shrinking the number of options. And lo and behold, she steps in again and prevents a merger. She steps in herself, and she was able to stop this from happening, and they're gone. Now, I also
both times, by the way, Spirit had to declare bankruptcy. So all the people who were doing work with Spirit Airlines and who provided services and so on lost everything, that money.
Let me continue. I really want to build on this. I've got the whole thing fleshed out. Let me take off there. Let me take off the tarmac here. I can do this. So you've got Elizabeth Warren also violating free enterprise principles. This is outrageous. There should be nothing that prevents large firms from joining. And you know what? People get scared because that means Paramount can buy up Warner or vice versa. They have a right to do this. This is a fundamental economic principle in free enterprise thinking. Private monopolies don't last long. Let the companies merge. New companies will emerge that will provide those cheaper fares with better service. There's some trade-offs, like you can't bring a lot of luggage on. I think that was a limitation with Spirit. Fine, that's the trade-off. You're willing to pay less so you can get from point A to point B. That should have been permitted, and that wasn't. So there's two issues. I'm not afraid to go after both. President Trump the federal government has got to get out of the investment business. It's not their job. Frankly, that money belongs to us and it belongs to the people. It's about trade. But I'm not hanging Trump from a tree. He's doing a great job. I mean, he's eliminated so much of the federal bloat. We're back down to LBJ levels, and we could go a lot further. And I know he wants to. Congress is at fault because they're not cutting enough of the spending themselves. But when it comes to this merger issue, this could have been solved. It should have been permitted. It would have saved jobs. It would have ended a lot of frustration for these now stranded passengers. Now, on top of that, I will give the Trump administration a lot of credit because you had Sean Duffy, who is the Secretary of Transportation. He stepped in and said, we will assist American citizens who are stranded in different airports around the country. That is an appropriate service offered by the federal government. It's a matter of safety. It's a matter of security. I'm down with that. That's fine. But this to me was really key. We've got to really make sure that as we move forward, that the Republican Party is a free enterprise, free market, less government, as little intervention as possible party. That is not a libertarian call to action by any stretch. That's a constitutional one. That is my stress on this. And I thought that was lost in the shuffles. I was shocked when President Trump wanted to offer a loan. No. I was outraged when you've got Elizabeth Warren saying we're not going to allow a merger. That is also wrong. Because you look at Argentina, where President Milei, he privatized, he deregulated the airline industries, and boom, business is booming. It's easier to travel and it's cheaper. And here's something else, getting back to that issue about price. Elizabeth Warren, claiming to be some big champion of the consumer, she's been running that for decades, along with Katie Porter, her creepy Karen of a protege, and they all claim to be advocates for consumer rights. What she did is she made it easier for a small number of airlines to consolidate their hold on the market, and they did exactly what you just mentioned there, Charlie. They jacked up the prices because they're the only shows in town. That is also wrong. This is a problem. We need a successor. We need someone to resurrect the spirit of Spirit Airlines and provide us that cheap, economical service. We need that. And I think President Trump is working on that. I know that Sean Duffy is working on modernizing and streamlining the operations and services in airlines as well. But all of this is what motivated me to speak to this issue, even though we've got Iran, we've got the elections coming up, we've got a lot of cultural issues which are moving to the forefront. There's a lot to be excited about with Trump as he's going into he's not even through his second year yet. There is a lot to celebrate, but I think it's so important that we as conservatives, we as MAGA, don't back away from expecting real robust economic reform. We don't want to lose that.
I fully agree. Yes, it was Biden. It was Biden who first said no to the whole merger between JetBlue and Spirit Airlines. Why would the frickin' autopin president of the United States even be involved in that? And then, of course, Elizabeth Warren and Pete Buttigieg are the ones who all shot her down, as Arthur said, twice.
twice.
They were screaming,
horrible.
please help us. We're going to go under. You don't understand. All these people are going to lose jobs, contracts. So many people are going to lose so much.
That's
Let us do this merger and we can stay afloat. And we'll be working together with a more successful company who's basically got the same business model we do. They're just doing it better right now. So,
and one other thing, I read a brief report. I haven't followed up on it, but Elizabeth Warren owned stock in Spirit, and she sold it off 2 weeks before the bankruptcy. That's something I read. I haven't had a chance to follow up on that, but that's news that's floating around as well.
I despise those people. I despise them.
There you go. Put in the money, get a certain amount off the stock, then sell it off. And we're seeing this problem. That's why they need to pass that no stock trading act that Josh Hawley has introduced. They need to get moving on that. I think it's going to take a new crop of legislators to make that happen in Congress. But keep pushing. That's what I say. More of the lawmakers are talking about that issue, which is good.
Last night here in California, we had another candidates debate.
Yeah, let's talk about the debate, please. Let's talk about something good.
Yeah, for those who are running for governor, to be the next governor of the state of California, because the primary is less than a month away now, June 2nd, and we suck at showing up for
vote.
That. Yeah, please vote. But it was the only 2 Republicans, only 2 conservatives on stage were Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco. The rest were all flaming lefty freaks. Tom Steyer, what's his name? Mahan from San Jose, Karen Candham Porter. Xavier Becerra, truly one of the most wicked people.
Keep the mashed potatoes away from Katie Porter, please. Don't let her near a bowl of mashed potatoes at all costs.
Yeah, it'll wind up on your head. She's an anger. She's a picture perfect poster child for anger management. But I didn't watch it because CNN was charging a subscription to watch the debate. CNN was. They're the ones who sponsored this one. The first one was ABC. Then CBS did it. PBS has got one coming up, I think. Maybe they already did theirs, but I don't watch PBS either. But CNN, you literally couldn't watch it unless you had a subscription. And I'm like, you are high. Nothing that CNN will ever do will be important enough for me to give them a dime.
I would rather go to a Spirit Airlines gateway and watch it on the terminal.
Good point. Yeah, you can go to they always have CNN and terminals, don't they? So anyway, I did find Channel 8 down in San Diego did a pretty dang good compilation of what happened in the debate. You want to watch it? Let's do it. Okay, let's do it. While I was talking, I should have been getting it ready, but I wasn't because I was talking. There it is. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, let's go full screen. 1.
Golden State's top job is up for grabs as Gavin Newsom exits after 2 terms.
7 leading candidates for California governor rating the person whose shoes they're hoping to fill.
Performative.
Bold.
This is describing Newsom.
Fail. Steve. Failure. Word.
Game changing.
Incomplete.
The clear difference in the answers between the Democratic and Republican candidates also evident in issues like immigration.
We should apologize. It's breaking the law. No one has broken the law in California.
And this interaction between Katie Porter and Steve Hilton after Porter says immigrants contribute significantly to our economy. Given that you're an immigrant.
Oh, I got to hear this exchange because this I didn't get all of it myself.
Come on now.
And you added to our population, and we're all having to
live
with the consequences of that decision.
Katie, the difference I think between legal and immigration.
Moreover, President Trump, who has endorsed Steve Hilton.
Job, Steve.
The fact is, all you do is point at Democrats, scream. But you have been in charge for 16 years. And don't have anything else to say.
And yes, I'm going to repeat Donald Trump as often as I have to because he's the rule.
He's got nothing else to say, or your perspective
on how each would work with the federal government.
You have nothing else to say.
He's going to attack California. Yeah, F him.
To what president?
F him.
Regardless of party. That's why I had to go to in court 120 times. This is delivering results. stage that's actually going
There
to be
is
the
so
governor of
much to break
California
down here.
for Californians.
Because I've been in enough boardrooms to know a crook when I see one, and he is a crook.
But I can also challenge Donald Trump.
And multiple "I've had it" moments from Katie Porter, in which she addressed head-on concerns regarding her past.
For sure. But it's not.
Villarosa,
Enough with the
I'll get right back
bickering.
to you.
I can't believe that on a stage with 30 minutes of interrupting and bickering and name calling and shouting and disrespect for everyone up here who's stepping into public, that anyone wants to talk about my temperament.
Chef Bianco's past affiliation with the extremist Oath Keepers group also caught heat.
That's so
Bianco, when
dirty.
pressed by moderators, clarified he was referring to taking an oath, though he did defend the group.
So you're an oath keeper. We all know that.
And I'm very proud of it.
No, well, you should.
I'm very proud of defending it.
Don't think an oath keeper is qualified to be governor.
I don't think you know what an oath keeper is.
And do you still consider yourself a member of that group, to be clear?
No.
And unsurprising for many, most of the attacks left and right targeted toward leading Democratic candidate Javier Becerra.
Being in bed with oil companies is a mistake. Javier Becerra has taken the max amount of money from Chevron.
Yeah, it's a rich response from a guy who made his billions investing in fossil fuels and oil companies.
In his counter-argument, Becerra pointing to controversies over Steyer's past investments in fossil fuel and oil companies, which Steyer has admitted to and said he stopped more than a decade ago. Democrat Tony Thurmond was not invited to the debate as he did not meet the polling threshold.
That's good news right there.
That's
And
beautiful.
Part of,
isn't it?
part of the reason that's good news is Tony
Yeah.
Thurmond is so arrogant. He's so hot. He's so high on his intersectionality, person of color, self-righteousness. They're persecuting me because I'm black. He will not drop out. And he is still generating buzz. Gustavo Arellano, he is this failed journalist. He got fired, or he was laid off from OC Weekly because they got shut down. And then LA Times, which is so desperate, they hired him on. He's attacked me a few times. That's how I know about him. I live in his head rent free. And he wrote this glowing article about Tony Thurmond yesterday. Oh, I think he's the surprise dark horse, no pun intended, candidate. Give me a break. This guy doesn't have a snowball's chance in anything.
No.
In the
Thank God.
Rocky Mountains or whatever our mountain ranges here in California, Sierra Nevada. Okay, there we go.
Sierra Nevada.
Anyway, there is so much. I got to see snippets of it just as you did. I am not paying anything to watch CNN anything, but I was able to find snippets of it. CNN, to their credit, they did a couple snippets. The first thing I got to talk about is that Hilton and Bianco, they're thinking strategically. They didn't go after each other head on. They tapped each other a little bit. They they made a joke, like one word to describe the Gavin Newsom, administration. And, so Hilton says failed. And then Bianco says, come on, use proper English, failure. And then they kind of jabbed each other a little bit. That was really good. It was very smart. Both of them got to be in the top two. That's our best chance. Now, nothing's impossible, but this state is still 2-1 Democrat. And sadly, the wokeness is still kind of bubbling up again. It's too bad. But that's the first thing I really liked. There was my favorite part. I have never cheered as loudly as I did. There was a segment, and you had Sheriff Bianco went after Villaraigosa directly on the sanctuary state stuff. And he said, I would like you to talk to the mother of a 14-year-old in my county who was killed by an illegal alien. And you, after a 3-time deportee for DUI who had been thrown out of this country 3 times and came back and killed an American, killed a young girl in Riverside County. I'd like you to talk to one of my dispatchers whose mother was killed by an illegal alien, or the other way around. I think maybe he was thinking of Sabina Durden, whose son Dominic was a dispatcher. It was in Moreno Valley, and he was killed by an illegal alien drunk driver. I mean, and now Sabine's in Arkansas. She's left the state. I don't blame her. I mean, this place is just not safe if your own kid gets killed and the state doesn't care. It's horrible. I can talk about Angie Morphine. Her son Ruben was murdered. We could talk about Agnes Gibney. Her son was murdered. And I just love how he put Villaraigosa on the spot. It was beautiful, and I just cheered so loud, and it got even better because Villaraigosa was making excuses and said, well, if they're he tried to play this distinction of like criminals versus violent criminals, and he says, and Bianco said, no, I didn't say violent criminals, I said criminals, that you think it's okay for them to stay here. Villaraigosa plays victim, and he says, are you going to let me talk, or are you being a bully? And I'm thinking, and I love what Bianco said. He says, no, I'm not going to be quiet. because you're protecting illegals, you're protecting criminals who kill Americans. This was fantastic. We have never had a Republican candidate running for governor in the last 16 years I've been paying attention who went hardcore on this issue. And I need to remind everybody, there was Don Rosenberg, his son Drew, was killed by an illegal in San Francisco. I think that was in 2010. Carly never talked about it. Meg Whitman never talked about it. What's going on here? But Chad was not afraid to. I am so great. He took this issue. He surged to the top. He had to move it because a lot of the recent polling shows Becerra and Hilton dancing in 1 and 2, and then Bianco's like a distant third. We need to really get it together.
Yeah,
and that was great.
And before they started these debates, Bianca was pretty much over Hilton by a point or two for months.
Yes.
So I'm not sure what's changed.
I think what Hilton has been out there he's been out there in the front lines, and Trump endorsed him. Again, I complained about that. I think Trump should have kept his mouth shut, but I'm not giving up hope here. I'm still seeing a 1 in 4 chance minimum. These Democrats are tearing each other down. I love it. I was expecting it. I got what I wanted. Every one of them tore at Becerra. This was beautiful. I saw Hilton going after Becerra. You don't even know the law. What are you doing here? But one of my other favorite exchanges was between Sheriff Bianco and Katie Porter. So Katie, as you saw there, was playing victim. Everybody's talking about my temperament. We've been bickering for 30 minutes. And then Bianco stepped in and he said, you've been interrupting us too. So don't play victim. And then like Katie Porter, she showed her true colors and she said, cowboy up cupcake. Cowboy up cupcake. To Sheriff Bianco. I mean, she really lost it. I think she wanted to use some other choice words, but she is just unbearable. Nobody believes her. She is a total Karen. She had a negative reputation among other Democrats. Nobody liked her in Congress. They were glad to see her gone. Let's never forget this lady. She was way too big for her britches. She challenged Dianne Feinstein while she was still alive. I mean, that's like a big no-no in the California Democratic Party. You don't challenge Feinstein. You don't challenge the old guard. You're supposed to wait your turn. They're really strict about it. And Adam Schiff got the endorsements from everybody. Never forget. That was really good. Bianco stepped out of his shell big time. He was not afraid to speak up. He was calling out. He says, all of these Democrats show you why they shouldn't be, you can't trust them, and they shouldn't be given another 4 to 8 years to govern the state of California. He really broke out of the mold. There's been nothing but positive about him across social media. And, you know, people are trying to spin. There was one attempt because, you know, media, they want a Democrat to get in the top 2. They want to make it. So they beat up on Bianco. He made a comment, says, you said this about Hilton. You called him a swindler and all this stuff. Is that true? Do you stand by that remark? And Chad was like, I don't remember saying that. I don't remember saying this. I have disagreed with him. I think there's things he's doing is unethical. But you could see he was like, I'm not going to play this game. I'm not going to trash this guy. Because there was, you could see latently, we need both of us to get into the top 2. Exactly. And I really like that. And Hilton did a great job. I'm going to say this, and I'm supporting Bianco. Hilton did a good job too. I was really spot on. He did a great job with some of the repartees. I can't remember them all right now. We're both in this mix. We didn't get to watch the whole thing. I'm still going to be scrounging around, seeing if somebody recorded it, and then they can send it to you.
If you find it, let me know.
I will. I'll pass it along for sure.
All right, my friend.
I'm really excited. I've never been more excited about this in the state. I'm going to be donating to the Bianco campaign. I've never donated to a gubernatorial campaign before. I'm actually going to donate because this guy is saying everything I want. He is a real fighter. He is a principled, and he has found the sweet spot in my view. This guy can attract independents and some Democrats. I really think he can do that. I got to bring up this one. Matt Mahan, he's trying to play the moderate, right? He said, Gavin Newsom is incomplete. See, he's got to find that middle ground. Gavin Newsom ain't great, but I'm not MAGA. He's trying to play that game. And I love how Bianco went after him and said, you moved homeless out of tents and then put them under roofs. You didn't do that the first year you were mayor. You're only doing it because you're running for governor. I'm so glad he nailed him on that. It is a total fraud. San Jose is like the least affordable city in America. It's worse than San Francisco. It's worse than Seattle. I mean, as far as affordability is concerned, and this guy is bragging about it? No, this guy is pretending to be some kind of common sense moderate, and that's nonsense. Look what happened in Virginia. They gave us Abigail Spanberger, and she's a total crazy leftist who has pushed every left-wing progressive talking point, from gun control to kill babies, to take away your rights, to let the criminals free, to taking away people's representation in Congress. Mahan will be the same. I am so tired. I'll give Hilton another shout out. I remember he blasted everybody. Everybody's talking about Trump. The problem isn't Trump. The problem is you guys. And I appreciate it. These guys, Hilton, Bianco, they have found a balance. They don't trash Trump, but they don't hide under Trump either. They got to run their own campaign. It's smart. It was very well done. I agree. The few snippets I've been able to watch were really good. And even Villaraigosa went after Becerra. He lost all those kids as HHS director, something they're not talking about. But I remember reading this. During the Biden administration, Joe Biden routinely yelled at and degraded Becerra in the Oval Office. This was rumored. I believe it. I mean, Joe Biden was an angry guy who yelled at everybody, but Becerra got the brunt of it. He was incompetent. And you're hearing a lot of Democrats coming out of the woodwork. They're going to tear each other apart. Steyer's going to keep hitting people. They hate Steyer because he's a rich white male. Katie Porter is unbearable. Mahan can never get above 10%. Democrats are going to pull each other down. I really think we have a chance at 2 Republicans in the top 2. I really do.
You too.
I'm so excited. I really am.
Feeling better about it all the time.
It's rising.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just not on an airline.
Spirit is rising, but not the airline, right? All right, partner. Let's do it again real soon. I got to run, but thank you so much for your time. I want to find out next time we talk about what's going on with massresistance.org. There's a lot of good inroads being made right now with your organization you work with, massresistance.org. Hey, cheers.
Cheers. Everybody. Get your mug. All right.
I love that. I'll talk to you later. All right. And thank you so much for joining us, sharing these shows too. And you can go to charliesimons.com, charliesimons.com, CharlieSimons.com. Get some merchandise. You can help the show financially. You can contact me. You can book a guest slot. That's how Arthur gets on the show. He books a guest slot through my website. So that's kind of cool. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. But most importantly, America bless God.